casinos and gambling websites hate prediction markets because they don't have to play by the same rules, but they allow people to essentially do everything they do and more. So prediction markets hit record usage this last few weeks, and Binance is now getting in on the action. So Binance March market notes that on-chain prediction markets hit an all-time high in March with over 192 million transactions and about 865,000 monthly users, roughly 24 billion in trading volume, up more than 1,100% year on year, just 10% below January's all-time high. So the report says leading platforms are moving from simple yes-no bets to richer attention markets and real-time event pairs, and that regulators are slowly catching up instead of trying to kill the sector outright. There's been a lot of lobbying from prediction market lobby, and it's interesting because it's split from the gambling lobby. Casinos and gambling websites hate prediction markets because they don't have to play by the same rules, but they allow people to essentially do everything they do and more. So Binance is framing prediction markets as a multi-billion-dollar corner of DeFi that's now being taken seriously, and they want to get in on that action. So they're going to be launching some prediction market-like features in their wallets and on their exchange.
Yeah, this is very interesting news that's coming out of the Binance camp. Everyone's getting into prediction markets because it's essentially a lot of these different technology ecosystems have a lot of the moving parts or the tools or the components of the machine necessary to pivot into that market. And time again, after we've seen, over the past year, January, February, March, the usage is going up. So it's proven that there is market demand here. There's a way to make a buck in pivoting into prediction markets. I made a post recently on LinkedIn talking about why the prediction market discussion is very important from a regulation standpoint, and how these prediction markets or these proprietors of these markets are very, very interested in the financial classification of these as derivatives rather than assets, because they are essentially cryptocurrency tradable assets. That's what enables these markets to work. But regulating them as derivatives essentially removes a lot of red tape around regulation and laws, etc. So it's a very interesting discussion, and it seems like the regulation will be laid out by the user demand that we're seeing, especially considering that there is a lot of lobbying activity going on within the government.
Yeah, and I think with the next story and the next few stories, like we have a lot on prediction markets, but it's starting to absorb crypto. I think it's becoming bigger than crypto almost.
Yeah, absolutely. And, next up on prediction markets, ICE, not the immigration enforcement agency, but the Intercontinental Exchange, known as ICE, the parent company of the New York Stock Exchange, has completed a $600 million direct cash investment into Polymarket following a prior $1 billion commitment in October of last year, for a total planned investment that's approaching $2 billion. So this latest funding round announced this past week includes an option to buy an additional $40 million of shares in Polymarket from existing holders. And that final evaluation will be disclosed once that round does close. But with Binance's reporting record prediction market usage in a previous story, and ICE's move into Polymarket, this is being read as a big Wall Street bet that markets for information and probabilities are here to stay, and they're now mainstream asset classes that just happen to run on cryptocurrency rails. So another huge signal for prediction markets. As much as I'm not a fan of gambling, and let's not deny that prediction markets are not gambling, it's just gambling with some insider information a lot of the times. But it seems like they're here to stay, and there's some real capital behind it now.
Yeah, that's a real bit that makes me upset. But you're right. Like all the stuff we've been doing before is essentially gambling, if you want to be real about it, like stock trading, futures, options. This is all a form of gambling. If you have insider knowledge, then great. You have, we call it information asymmetry, but now with prediction markets, it's sort of exposing that it's not really information asymmetry. It's just trading insider knowledge. legally or illegally. It's a little bit dubious right now on which is which. We don't really have clear definition for what is and what isn't, because this is a totally new technology and a new paradigm, basically. But yeah, it's absolutely crazy. And I was just thinking, we normally covered these huge fundraisers at the end of the show with the biggest ones of the week. This deserves its own story, because how often do you get, like, it's not just the size of the investment, but who's investing here? It's not a A16Z. It's, it's Intercontinental Exchange. It's the New York Stock Exchange. That's crazy. Like, imagine starting this company several years ago and saying, like, someday we're going to get $2 million from the New York Stock Exchange. They're going to essentially license our technology so that people can financialize everything. Everything will be tradable. Everything will be financed. It's crazy. And kind of on a similar thread, we told you we had 3 stories for prediction markets, and going in line with that insider trading. California and Gavin Newsom are set to ban state appointees and politicians from betting on prediction markets with inside info. So on March 27th, Governor Gavin Newsom signed an executive order, N426, banning all gubernatorial appointees from using non-public government information to bet on prediction markets like Polymarket and Kalshi. The order is effective immediately, and also bars appointees from helping family members or business associates profit from insider knowledge. And, right now they're only talking about gubernatorial candidates or governors, but I would like to see this expand to like almost all public employees. Let's be honest. But that won't save you from everything, because, now that's the irony here, is like before you had to be an insider in a company or a government to have that insider information. Now anybody can have insider information, especially you see some athletes getting caught betting on which team they'll go to next year. They're in direct control of that, and then they're found to be behind the scenes trading that on. That's like the definition of insider knowledge. Only you have that knowledge. So there's some concerns that are popping up with these prediction markets and what is okay and what isn't. So it's good to see some governments, some politicians addressing this and how worrisome it is. Like, we've seen some really high profile trades that come at really sketchy, suspicious times, like the Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro being kidnapped by the U.S. government. Also, some of the bombing campaigns and drone strikes, like really weird, timely bets coming in right before those strikes or those military operations. So it's getting risky, both from a security and national defense standpoint. And it's just morally, ethically unacceptable to allow these people to profit off this information. They're supposed to be serving the people. They're employed by the people that they're serving, and now they're getting rich and enriching themselves on these prediction markets. So maybe it's not enough, but it's a start. But I would like to see every government start to outline some of these policies personally.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's incredible that it took this long to get here. This was going to happen inevitably. And as much as I like to rag on California for all the ridiculous laws they have over there, the different regulations and all the crazy things that they do in California, they are a front runner in at least making or impacting this change. Like I said, it was going to happen, and it's very obvious in hindsight. No public service employees should benefit from the knowledge that they're getting from decision making, because that is, like you said, the definition of insider information. It'll be interesting to see how this rolls out across non-public employees, anyone within an advantageous position of information asymmetry. And I think that kind of ties in with a recent article that we published on our website around data authenticity, or at least digital identities being applied online in a format that can be used in prediction markets or betting markets or anything where there is money at stake. But good to see this change happen now. And I'm very, very excited about what the future of prediction markets can look like now that the gauntlet's really been just passed down here. So this is exciting to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm still keen. Like, we covered this as one of our stories as well for the year, and prediction markets, but not just prediction markets themselves, but technology that can be built upon what they're laying down, the infrastructure they're creating. So I think I've seen a few acquisitions already in the last few months from Polymarket. I can't remember what they are and what they do, but they're acquiring companies. So they're recognizing the value. And then I think Polymarket even opened up a bar or something in DC called the Situation Room, where people can go drink and basically see what's going on in the world with like live, up-to-date information, tracking every sentiment, every consensus, everything you can find on Polymarket. It's interesting they opened it up in Washington, D.C., and it's interesting that we have these things now, but it's absolutely fascinating time to be alive.
Wow, new bar games.
Betting on everything.